Welcome back to the Capes and Tights podcast right here on capesandtights.com. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg. Once again, this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Galactic Comics and Collectibles at galacticcomicsandcollectibles.com. This episode, we welcome back the proprietor of Galactic Comics to the podcast to discuss the 2005 Fantastic Four movie, and it was a doozy. No, it wasn't that bad. The movie came out on July 8th, 2005, and it was the first released Fantastic Four movie. There was the unreleased 1994 movie, which we have reviewed in the past. Check that one out. But Paul Eaton joins us to discuss the 2005 make of this movie in preparation for the new movie, which is theaters on July 25th. So check this one out. But before you do, find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, or Threads. You can also rate, review, subscribe over on Apple or Spotify or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also find us over on YouTube. And as always, you can go to capesandtights.com for so much more stuff like reviews, top 10 lists, more podcasts, and so much more. This is Paul Eaton of Galactic Comics and Collectibles discussing the 2005 Fantastic Four movie. Enjoy, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast, Paul Eaton of Galactic Comics. No, welcome back, God. Paul. Welcome back to the podcast.
Oh my God, again. Look at that.
Well,
I'm really sticking out our numbers here that we were going to do this like once a... Is that what we're going to do? Once a month or something?
Yeah,
with
something.
Our
we waited like 8 weeks without doing it.
Yeah,
and the fact that we skipped the Superman review like altogether so far.
I watched that movie for no apparent reason.
No, it was good though. Here's the deal. I had you. We were planning to do it, and you watched a movie, the Superman the movie, the original. That wasn't bad. So it wasn't like I had you watch a movie that was really crappy, and then
you made me watch that friggin' Man Thing movie.
Yeah, and then we didn't do anything with it. Yeah.
For it. Yeah,
we'll do it. We'll do Superman at some point in the future. I think there's just some things to come out. Maybe we'll do it this fall. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, so I went this weekend. We were gonna go see it. Yeah. I'm like, everybody in the store keeps coming in saying how good it is, the new one. So we were gonna go see it, and like Saturday was Katie's birthday, so we had all that. We had the party and all this stuff. And then Sunday, man, it was raining yesterday, and it was just like a super lazy day.
Yep.
Finally, because of course Katie got like a gift card and she had like money burning in her pocket. So we took her out shopping, and by the end of that experience, I'm like, I'm done. I'm going home. Yeah, I'm gonna go hide in my room. I'm gonna read a book. I'm through here.
Plus, I mean, I feel like the excitement, if you're excited to go see a movie, it changes the experience. And if you're just like, oh, I'm gonna go see this just to go see it. So you might actually have been like, you might have perceived the movie differently, being like worn out and tired. Like I've done that where there's like any slow moments in a movie that when you're already tired going into it and you get sleepy, you're like, oh, this movie is sleepy, but it's really not. It's your environment. It's the whole why some people don't eat at restaurants after getting super drunk at a restaurant, and the next day that night they feel sick and they're like, oh, the food must have been horrible. I'm like, no, how about the 17 drinks you had? That's probably what the issue is. So going into a movie tired or worn out is probably not the best idea, even if it's exciting.
I can't remember what movie it was, but I definitely like fell asleep that like little entry sort of sleep you're gonna do. I fell asleep during a movie at the cinemas with the new like reclining seats and stuff. I don't remember what movie it was, and I don't think it was necessarily a bad movie, but yeah, I had that. I was like kind of out. I was listening to it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, like I paid money for this. I'm like sleeping here.
Well, my entire family, so I have two brothers, an older brother, a younger brother, and my parents all fell asleep. We rented Mr. Magoo, the remake of Mr. Magoo. This is like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Right?
Who even is in that?
I want to say it's
actor, right?
It's what's his face from Pink Panther? I thought.
Was it? What? Steve Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be.
There's a TV series a couple years ago.
It's funny. I remember it. So I love the cartoon the old cartoon, like it must have been like the 40s or whatever.
No, it's Leslie Nielsen. Sorry, not Steve Martin. Leslie Nielsen. Same thing.
Yeah.
But so my entire family, like we literally like all of a sudden I know we woke up and the credits were rolling and I look around like and everybody's just like we fell asleep. It was the weirdest thing. It probably again was the movie wasn't. It's a 4.1 out of 10 on IMDb, so it probably wasn't that good, but it probably wasn't bad enough for us to fall asleep. It was probably the circumstances. We were all probably worn out from the weekend or the week or whatever it may be. But like, it's a story we always tell to each other about like, hey, remember that time we fell asleep watching a movie? But yeah, I've done it before, even movies that are exciting. So, like, it's your mindset. So yeah, I mean, Superman will be out for a while. It's making money. So
segue. Did you fall asleep during Fantastic Four, the 2005?
I did not. You're going to hate me for this. I did not think it was as bad as it's been hyped up to be. It's not good. I'll tell you that right now. Fantastic
I
Four from
did not
2005 is not a good movie.
I
But
did not think this was bad as I remembered it being.
yes, so there is definitely some things in this movie that like were Hollywoodized. It was changed for like no real apparent reason. Plot holes. There's a bunch of stuff like that in this movie.
Yeah.
Bad acting. I think there's some
Critics
really bad
did not
acting.
like it at all. I saw
However,
critics.
if you compare it to all the other comic book movies we've gotten over the years,
Maybe
it's
that's the
crap,
problem.
right? Because of what
Right.
we've been able to see. We've been in the, especially in the Marvel universe, where we've been able to see some really tremendously well made movies.
I
And then
would
you have
watch.
this.
I
It's
gotta
like,
tell you this. I gotta say right now, review style
yeah,
right now. I would watch this over watching the Inhumans again.
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
watch this like twice in a row, back to back, over watching Inhumans again.
yeah.
So like we talk about like the modern stuff, but man, I don't know. This really wasn't that bad. It's not that
And so,
good. Don't I don't want to
yes,
like
no, it's not
that
good.
good.
It's not. It's not
No.
good. The acting is really, really, really bad for the most part. I think the only person I really enjoyed the acting was Johnny Storm, was Chris Evans. I
Yeah,
feel
Chris
like
Evans is really good. I
he was
didn't
good.
think that the guy playing Mr. Fantastic was that bad. I thought he was
No,
very well
I think he
casted.
was
think
more.
that- I personally, humbly, as a comic reader, think Mr. Fantastic's kind of a boring dude, anyways.
Yes. Well,
So,
so,
like,
so
if you can get a dry actor,
yes.
you kind of covered it.
Well, Mr. Fantastic again. I think that was more. The acting wasn't as good as. Oh no, sorry. The writing was better than the. Sorry, the acting was better than the writing in that situation.
Right.
I think in that situation, I feel like he did a great job with what he was given. But I think there's a little more like bumbly.
Right.
I think he's just shy and nerdy in the comics, in my opinion. He doesn't have
Yeah.
this
He doesn't
like
have a lot of social
fumbling.
cues.
Yes.
Right.
Whereas if like Miss Sue Storm, I think in this is horrible acting. I think she's beautiful.
Yeah, Jessica Alba.
I think she just wasn't very good at
accurate
acting,
in
and the
this.
writing wasn't that bad for her. So I think there's a mixture of both in that set for all the characters. Ben Grimm again is a little bit they made up in the air. I think the casting wasn't horrendous in that sense. I think
I don't think the casting is horrendous. I think a couple of my thing ones. They did a good job with like, oh, he's heavy, and they're showing that, and he's powerful. He's throwing stuff. The elevator won't go with him on it.
Yes.
But overall, he just doesn't seem that big.
No.
And I know they were like,
And the suit sucks.
The suit's not good. And and I we were actually just having a talk about this in the store. For what I heard, they had originally planned on doing a CGI, and the actors like, no, because I love thing, and CGI at that point was probably not going to be that great.
Exactly.
Especially of him all the time. So instead, they went with the physical look, and I think that's some of the thing is that he just wasn't big enough, and his facial features were just all off. He always looked sort of surprised.
Yes.
Always looks a little surprised. No matter what, he should be angry. He should be this or that. He just always looks sort of surprised with the way that costume ended up.
Well, they could have mixed it. I think nowadays, if you would have made this movie,
fingers in the comics. Yes, he's got Ninja Turtle fingers in the movie. He's only got three in a thumb. And I was like, where the hell does Pinky go? He turned into a rock. I mean, Chris Evans in that set is like, where are your ears? Which I did find funny.
Well, that comedy is the Marvel comedy, in my opinion. And but I think again, there's certain ones that go a little too far. I think you'd agree in Thor Ragnarok, there was that point where it goes through too far. And I think that there's just like, I like the tension breaking humor, because I feel like Endgame, Infinity War, yes, please don't tell a bunch of jokes. This is a very serious moment we're in. Everything else, like, yes, even in the end of the world type things, or big monsters, or big bads, I feel like there's still time for a joke here and there. Like,
there's always that one person that's how they break their tension. That's how they deal with their stress, is by saying something inappropriate.
I never looked at it, but yes, the Thing does have only 3 fingers and a thumb.
Does he?
In the comics? Yeah.
All right then.
But I think if you would have made, obviously we're doing this review now because it's in relationship to the new movie coming out here pretty soon. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing this review now. It's just timely and so on and so forth. So they are going to do it. They're doing it right now. However, if this movie was made, this specific movie from 2005 was made today, I think they would have taken practical effects of the suit and then CGI'd over it, in my opinion. Like, that would have worked. Like, making some things. But when he actually turns, like, on the bridge, and he's like helping the guy that's about to commit suicide, and he's like trying to help him, and he's like pushing him back out of traffic, where their first time there as a team, and the people around them see them as a team, and then seeing they can do good with his powers, is when he turns and moves his hand, the whole thing moves as one. there's not like this. It looks like a suit moving,
Yeah,
and
it
that to
does.
me was the big issue with it. So I understand, Michael Chiklis being like, "Oh, I like this character. I want to do the," but
Yeah.
in the same sense, it probably would have been better to have shitty CGI, in my opinion, because at
It
least
might have
it
been,
didn't look
yeah.
like he was wearing a suit. Like in my opinion,
Yeah,
like
he
this.
definitely had the rubber monster suit
Yes,
effect
and
going.
everything. I mean,
But they
the
did good,
reason
like the
why.
sound effects when he touches himself, it sounds like rocks rubbing. Like they did those things, but some of it just
And you haven't seen the 2015 version of this, right?
I have not.
Okay,
No. In
so I
fact, when you
believe,
said we were watching Fantastic Four, I was sort of afraid that's when we were watching. That I guess I should at some point just to see how
but
bad it really is.
and I don't remember specifically, and I have to rewatch this, and so don't like fact check
Right.
me on this, but I believe that they did well in that one too. Is when he like touched things and things shot off of him, like pieces of rock fell off, which would
Mm,
make sense in my opinion. If you're made out of rock, that you'd be you chisel off, not like chunks falling off, but like you
right.
get dust and stuff like that. And so like I felt like when they shot him with the bullets, it just like bounced off of him,
Right.
and it made like the noises, but like there's not this like crumbliness to it that it would be. I don't know. To me, so like I said, that suit was the biggest faux pas for the characters. Special effects
Yeah.
in the early 2000s are not always the best, so that's fine in that
Yeah,
sense.
they weren't horrible. I feel
No,
like overall most of the special effects in this were done at like a distance. They weren't
yeah,
overly used. So it didn't like I mean there were a couple moments that definitely looked
yes.
2005, but overall the effects weren't that bad in this
Mm.
movie.
Like I
Like the
said, and that's
spaceship
why.
scene kind of like, yeah, okay,
And
that's a
that's why I said from the beginning, I
2005
don't
spaceship.
think it's bad. I think the biggest plot issue or the biggest issue is the story itself and how they adapted
Yeah.
comic books into this. And I think in the early days of making these movies, so you're talking X-Men, Blade, like the beginning of
Yeah.
the boost in comic book related movies
First
with
Tobey
Marvel.
Maguire
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
all those ones is that they tried a little bit further. Right? That you should have stuck way more to the source material. Like it should have
Right.
been. I don't want to see Fantastic Four #1 on screen. I don't want to see
The
word to
big
word.
monster. Can you imagine how bad that would have looked in
Well,
'05?
yeah, but my whole point is that I also do want a slight adaptation because I want it to be something a
Yeah.
little different. Because if I want that story, I'll
You
just
could read
open
it.
up Marvel Unlimited and read
Yeah.
Fantastic Four #1, right? Like, or get the trade or whatever, the omnibus or whatever. Just LCS push there. But no, I
Yes,
think that
grab your Marvel Epic from Fantastic Four 1
But I
and
think
then
that if I need a slight change, and I do think that there is a need in the adaptation from comic to movies in the sense that, okay, I don't like the idea that Doctor Doom was with them, but I
right.
understand why they did it. It's a smoother and
So
easier way of selling it in a movie
the
to have them all be
uh,
together and have the story
Doom
move
thing.
forward that
The
way.
Doom thing bothered me the first time I saw this in the theater, and
Yeah.
it still bothers me.
I don't
You
like
had the
it, but I
perfect,
understand
I
it.
feel like you had the perfect plot thing. In the idea that he goes up, he puts these shields up, he leaves them to die, right? Like that
Mhm.
shows the selfishness of him and everything. And then they could have come back to Earth and they all have powers, and he'd be jealous of it.
Yeah.
He'd be jealous of the fact that he didn't get powers and they did, and they're getting all the spotlight and all the press. And at that point, have him start building the suit or dig into his history in black magic. Do something with that instead of the like weird he gets powers too,
Mhm.
and it's
Well, I mean, you could
ah
have done that, what you just said, and then just spliced that together with what actually happened with the whole trying to use the machine to get their powers away from them. And he did the machine to give him powers afterwards, and that caused even
mm,
more. So that, like, you could almost splice those two together, make it so that he
right.
wasn't there and that he was jealous that he didn't get the powers that everybody else got. And then he tries to give himself powers by breaking in and going to the machine that Mr. Fantastic is using to try to get their powers away from them to give himself some sort of something. But like, there's very little Laveria. Like, there's very little like
Yeah, it's
connection to that.
very few references to it. There's at least some
And
references, but they're very few and
yes,
far between.
well, and I do. They did a
And
good job at the idea that he had a small scar on his face,
yeah,
and
and
that
was
was what
obsessed
that
with it.
was obsessed with it, and that is comic book, accurate in the sense that he's so worried about the ways to look at it. And it's like you and I have like, oh, a pimple scar, and we're like, whatever. And he's like very, 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 particular about what his face looks, and that's why he wears a mask. But like they did, so like I said, to me, like that was they didn't need to do that. But I also feel like there hasn't been an adaptation. Again, you haven't seen 2015's yet, but that it's been good, and so that's what I'm
Right.
hoping for. That the new Fantastic Four movie is
Right.
that like we're gonna get a good Doctor Doom adaptation because they just for some reason keep faltering on one of the greatest villains in Marvel history.
So I think
Eh,
watching this again, I was less critical of Doom than I was the first and other times I've watched it.
mhm.
I still don't like him having weird powers.
Yep.
I still don't think that overall that Doom looks very good. Like
Yes. No.
I don't know, is he starts getting these like it's growing through his fingers and his fingertips are metal and it just doesn't I don't know that I think Doom was one of the weakest parts of it. And then he gets the mask on and that looks better. He's got the cloak and the
Yeah.
mask, which you don't see very much. It's very
Nope.
short-lived. But I don't know, something about the actor's voice of Doom with this doesn't feel like Doom to me. It's not
No.
what I envision of Doctor Doom. He just doesn't seem that like intimidating, that all powerful, like all the things that Doom are. That's like what you want to see. I feel like in the movies, just not there.
No. I mean, it was better in the 2000. I mean, you haven't seen 2015, and you haven't seen this new one, which he's actually technically not in. The Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom has been said to be in the post credit scene
Okay.
because this is Galactus and Silver Surfer in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
in
yeah.
this adaptation, but
Right.
which is great because I also feel like don't rush into. I mean, that's a character that
Yeah.
we're gonna build off of, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, if you're
Um,
gonna use Doom, you should be using Doom for like the next whole
yes.
wave of Marvel movies.
And then our review of the 1994, that Doom is better than any of the other Dooms that have been in Marvel.
Costume wise, that Doom
Yes, like
actually
that Doom
looks
is
like
like
Doom.
kicked ass. And so like
Yeah.
that's to me is like again, I don't think Marvel looked at the big bad as much. I feel like when they were looking at these early movies, I think they were looking at how do we take the protagonists, your heroes, and make them the focus, and that they have to
Right.
fight villains to make this work. And so they kind of like phoned in a lot of the villains in the
Yeah, the
early
bad
days
guys are just there. They're just villains for the sake of villainy.
and
They're
not
not.
realizing that as we grew as a world that we all also fell in love with villains too. Like there are people who
Yeah.
were like super impressed. Like we didn't have villain comic books until the past 15, 20 years.
For the most part, yeah. There were
Like
very
full
few and
on
far
like
between.
there's a
Yeah.
Thanos comic books that came out and there's these comics that come out for these villains, Doom comics. They
Yeah.
didn't have that when Fantastic Four came out. It was Fantastic Four
Yeah, it
who
was
fought
all
Doom and
good
that's
guys.
it.
Yeah.
So I think things
Well,
have
look at
changed. And I think
like I don't think Magneto even had an actual origin until X-Men 150.
yeah.
Like that's a long time to be like, all right, this is by the way why Magneto's the way he is. Like the bad guys were just kind of there for the sake of being bad guys. And I
Yes.
feel like this movie definitely has some of those vibes. It Doom has a fair amount, or at least Victor Von Doom has
Mhm.
a fair amount of screen time, it
Yep.
felt like. But actual Doom in the sense of what he should be was very limited. And
I
I
think
don't
that's my
know.
biggest problem with this whole movie is that what is the plot? Like what is the
Yeah.
what
It
so we have the origin story, which is what we needed, right? Because obviously
yeah.
every movie from this
Basically
day
the
and
whole
age
movie was this drawn
origin
out
story. Yeah.
origin story.
It was the setup to make the sequel, which obviously is called Rise of the Silver Surfer. So like that
Which I
they're
kind of want to watch now again
but
because I
I
haven't
did I
gotten to
too, but
watch.
it's worse than this, which makes me go
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but
I remember it being bad,
yeah.
but I
But so
kind of
like
want to watch it again now.
she has to have the origin story. So the origin story is fairly close. So they're
Yeah,
not scientists, all scientists. They're not all strong. They're not all
yeah.
nerds in a sense. To go up there, it's a
It's
different
better
different.
than that '05 one where they just randomly pick up two strangers like,
Yes,
oh hey, we grew up with you guys. Here, hop
yes.
on board the spaceship. You guys don't know what the
So
hell you're doing, but it's fine.
this one is there is that so there is that difference in that what the team structure, but the idea of going to space and getting hit by some sort of storm in space, giving you your powers, all of that is cool. I did like that they came back and they all look great, and that joke about Johnny Storm looking at Michael Chiklis and being like, "Hey, you look ugly," da da da, and you're like, "Oh my God, here's what he's gonna figure out." And he
You
looks
look
like a normal
horrible, and he
person.
pulls a mirror up, and he just looks like himself. There's nothing
Uh,
they could do.
and then like Johnny Storm snowboarding and getting
Yeah,
the powers on that. However, they made him so much more in the public eye, and they were in the public eye in this movie, but like they
yeah.
made him more like wanting to be on ESPN Action Sports and all that stuff. And he has that feel and vibe to him in the comic books, but not that extreme.
Boy, I think
Like
you go back and read the old '60s stuff, man. He was all over the place like that. He was this like him and
he was a
Spider-Man
hothead
didn't
and
get along because
impulsive.
he was yeah, and he was all like I don't know, he was going into the schools and giving lectures about like being cool and blah blah blah, like being hip, and he was like Johnny. I feel like they sort of nailed the fact that the Human Torch is kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, and they do have that. They have
Johnny
the
Storm is
obnoxious,
kind of obnoxious. Like,
hothead. He's impulsive, that kind of stuff. But he does mature over
they
time.
modernized it a lot.
Yes, they did. And I honestly think Johnny Storm was my favorite character in the movie. I think Chris Evans. I almost like him better as, and this is going to say something, but better as Johnny Storm than I do as Captain America. I think that he played it better. It's so funny how the juxtaposition of the characters too, though. Like Johnny Storm being impulsive and wanting to be in the public eye and wanting to, like, them all wanting their powers taken away, and Johnny Storm's like, no, I want to keep this, like, so on and so forth. And then you look at his Captain America role is like, I don't want to be in the public eye. I'm not the person who, I'm here to fight for America and for the people. I don't care if anybody knows who I am, kind of thing. And it's just funny, those two characters. And I even mentioned it to people in your shop, I think even on Wednesday, about how I don't like that they even cast Chris Evans as Captain America after he played Johnny Storm. I know it's two different universes. I know all that stuff, but we're all big Marvel fans. You're going to watch this movie and then you're going to watch Captain America. And it bothers me in that sense that a character played two different characters and now they can explain it by saying it was multiverse, that he actually did play. Right. He was Johnny Storm. Like, Chris Evans, the look. Yeah. But it's to me, it was always that thing. And I said, it's funny. It's not as bad as Josh Brolin, who plays Cable in the Deadpool universe and Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And now they're all in the same universe. So technically he plays two characters in the same universe before casted that way. Like, obviously Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who's also played Iron Man, but there's a point to that. Maybe they'll explain it. Maybe they'll explain it.
Don't know the comics, you'll figure it out later.
Yeah. And so I think that, like I said, Johnny Storm or Chris Evans as Johnny Storm was a great casting. I think he did the young attractiveness. They went for attractiveness in Sue Storm. Like, they went for that beautiful blonde woman, but they went too much into it. I think that they like over sexualized her in a sense.
A lot, there was a lot of like her stripping out in her underwear, and then I'm not invisible anymore.
Which I'm not gonna say I wasn't happy to see. I'm not. Let's be honest.
They definitely played into like that whole thing.
No,
like,
but
a lot.
It made it feel almost like her looks was the only thing. I mean, she's a smart person, and she's smart in the comic books, and she's smart. She's supposed to be smart in this movie, but like you forget about how smart she is.
Yeah, and
because they're focused on her looks.
In the grand scheme of thing, which I think the Invisible Woman is a little bit harder anyways. But she doesn't do a whole heck of a lot in this movie.
No.
Like,
she's there to sell the movie. I honestly think, because Jessica Alba was hot at the time, not physically hot, but also acting hot. And so was Chris Evans. Michael Chiklis was in what's it called?
The Shield.
The Shield, thank you. So he had the thing, and I don't know if the guy who played Mr. Fantastic, I can't remember.
I don't know who that is.
It's his name is, it's hard to say. Is it Ioan? Ioan Gruffudd. But I think that the big casting, the big selling point was Jessica Alba. Like,
well, that's of all of the scenes in this movie, the one where they get hit with the storm when they're in the space bridge.
Yeah.
And each one's like, they're fading back. And then like this close up on her that's like up in her face and everything. And I'm like, wow, that is some serious 2000 vibes. Like, just bad.
Yes. Well, but Mr. Fantastic, the problem is I don't know who this guy is, Gruffudd, but I also don't think he looks unlike Mr. Fantastic. Like, they did a great job looking at a picture and going,
he was pretty decent.
Yes. And so I did, but I do think that it was one of those things where I've always said it, and what I don't like about what the casting of this new film is, by going with Pedro Pascal and
such a well-known actor.
Other casting, the rest of the three, I can kind of see because they're well known in a sense. Like, if people watch The Bear, Ben Grimm is in The Bear technically. So, but like, it's not like they're like massively huge. And Pedro Pascal is a lot easier
too, especially now where he can be CGI. It's like you don't necessarily know, even though they did make Thanos kind of look a lot like Josh Groban.
Well, I
don't necessarily know it's the same person.
I like the idea they make him look at it. So does Incredible Hulk looks a lot like Mark Ruffalo. Like, I think that's good. I think that's what. But I don't know. I wish they would have gone with almost nobody's because again, if they
I feel like that's a more successful thing in the Marvel universe. When you really go back and look, most of the big successful actors that came out of Marvel weren't in a lot of stuff before. They were in the side movies here and there like, I mean, Chadwick Boseman is the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Completely crushed it. And I know he had Jackie before, but
He had
still
a couple
Jackie,
something else, but it was still
yeah, in its own realm there. And just like Chris Hemsworth wasn't in a lot of stuff before suddenly being Thor. So it was
Chris
so
Pratt.
easy. Yeah, it was easy to see these people as their characters. It's gonna be a lot harder to not just see Pedro Pascal as Pedro Pascal. And I feel like he's also famous for being Pedro Pascal now. Like, yes, he's huge in The Last of Us. He's big in Mandalorian. But like just being on Saturday Night Live and being in all these things that you just kind of see him as Pedro Pascal. I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time watching this upcoming movie and believe he's Mr. Fantastic.
Incredible actor. That's not saying anything about his acting skills. His skills are fantastic, and that's why you can see why they cast him.
As well known as he is now, he's so famous.
To me, and I feel like you could get away from that. Like, so back in 2005, when this movie came out, guarantee you that the Fox people and the people, talking to Marvel about how things go, and so, because obviously Fox owned the rights then, was they needed couple of star actors to sell the movie. Like, you needed, like, back then it was like, you got to have someone on the picture. First of all, she's got to be attractive. Second of all, she's got to be famous. And so let's sell the movie with that. And nowadays, I think Fantastic Four as a whole now, you've got enough core audience who just wants to see the movie. But I think they went backward, but they went a little bit. And I think that what Superman just did well was that the guy playing Superman and the woman playing Lois Lane are both, again, good actors and actresses, but are not like, oh my gosh, this is a star.
Yeah, they're not mainstream.
The villain is the one that's actually the star. You know what I mean? So, like, to me, it's like, make a character in this movie. Make Doctor Doom someone that's super famous. Yeah. And then the four people, the Marvel's first family, as the people that were like, okay, they've had things, they're talented, they're good, but they're not super famous. And that could sell the movie, in my opinion. And that's what they could have done almost, I think, in this, like having, Galactus and Silver Surfer be like famous people. And then the four people like build them from, and it would have been cheaper. I can't imagine Pedro Pascal's freaking cheap. But I think that's the missing of the first movie. The casting of Jessica Alba was a money financial selling tickets.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And like the scene of her when they're on the bridge.
Yep.
And she strips down. Oh no, I'm not invisible. And then she goes invisible again. And they're like, oh, she's gonna get us behind the scenes because she's invisible. And then all of a sudden they're on the other side of the accident. Never explained how her invisibility got the rest of them across. The whole thing was just sort of pointless. Like 100%. I was going through watching it. I'm like, wow, there is no plot to that at all. That was just.
Well, I just think that this whole movie is that it was them, the big, and again, I think that the first 35-40% of the movie was fairly well done in a sense, like an adaptation sense of it. I don't want to say it's a good movie, but I'd say it's in the sense that, okay, we're a group of people who go to space, get powers, learn how to use these powers, how to control some of it, you're trying to figure that out. Mr. Fantastic is trying to is sucking himself into the work, trying to figure out what happened. Yeah. You have them come together and save a street level problem.
Yep.
And then and they become the public eye. And then from that point on, I feel like it just went nowhere. It was like them versus Doom, but not on a scale that Doom was going to take over the world and you need to save. It was like them versus their friend.
Yeah, and then they're still they're still like running into him and just having everyday conversations with him. Like he sits down with Ben Grimm there in the like pancake house or whatever, and they're just like chatting. And I'm like, this just, I don't know. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's like on a rocket launcher and he's shooting it at Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
The whole flow, especially that last half of the movie, just didn't really make a hell of a lot of sense. It didn't go anywhere. And then also don't know how or why we got there. I don't know. I think overall, I think this movie is fun. I think it's
entertaining. It's an entertaining movie. It's not.
I think it's fun.
I can see why people don't like it and why it doesn't resonate very well with people, especially again if no more Marvel movies were ever made after this movie, I can see people liking it more. But because we got such great Marvel stuff afterwards, it just goes down and down and down and down and down. I mean, it is a 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Okay, so that's not insanely bad.
No, it's not
it's 20.
It's not great, which is
27% on Rotten Tomatoes. 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, bad, but there are
That's
definitely
bad.
movies we watch that are worse than that in a sense.
Yeah.
But for the for audience wise, it's 45%. So it's again 50-50, 5.7, 45, which is a 57% on IMDb,
Yeah.
45% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a 50-50. I think people like it. Some people like it, some people don't. It's not, but it's not one of those ones where I would be like, do not watch this movie. Like this, it's a,
Oh, yeah, we definitely watched way worse movies than
oh
this.
yeah,
I would, and to correct myself earlier, it's Eternals. I don't ever want to watch again.
yes,
And Human
yes.
still hasn't happened yet, and I don't.
Well, they had a
They
TV
had the
show that was
TV
very
one, which I've
good,
never watched.
but yeah.
But I
But
don't know.
we've got good things after that, and I think that's the
Yeah,
it's a it's a it, it's not a horrible adaptation. We know we haven't talked about it yet, but there was a Captain America movie in the 90s or 80s, 78, 80, that
is that the
Steve Rogers
motorcycle
is a
one?
lawyer.
Yeah, the lawyer one.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's an adaptation that's like, what the heck were you thinking? Why'd
yeah,
you
it
go
makes
that
no
way?
sense. The
Those
1991 was pretty bad.
yes, the
The
Doctor Strange
1990
one we
Captain
watched.
America was much worse than this.
Yes. The Doctor Strange one was pretty bad in that sense of like story. So like there is this, the adaptation sometimes, and it was written by these two guys, Mark Frost and Michael France, and directed by Tim Story. This movie, and so there is this sense of people having to make it their own thing because they don't want to
Right.
just. People would be like, "Oh, it's just the comic book on screen." So, and then again, behind the scenes, I have to sometimes go, I don't know how it works. Like I don't know how
Right.
Hollywood works in the sense of, hey guys, we only have this much footage to shoot. You need to get all of the characters to have powers of some sort in one time. And so the way they wrote it into the story was that the four got Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom all go to space and they all get it.
Right.
Okay, that's not something that I'm gonna go, okay, this movie sucks because of that. It definitely hurt it in my opinion, but it didn't ruin the movie to me. The biggest ruining to me was some bad acting, the suit for Ben Grimm, and then the fact that it really just didn't do anything. Like I just felt like
I
there was
think
no
the
excitement.
overall plot was just not really there.
No.
It's fine. It's a fun movie, but overall the plot's just not really
Well, I went to
there.
look this up. Do you think that
It makes sense. All of it, like Doom's reasoning makes sense, but
yes.
it just still wasn't good.
I want to know what they list for genres. Okay, so according to Google, it's
Really?
action, fantasy, superhero, adventure, science fiction, supernatural, children's film. So it doesn't actually. This is. Oh, it just says all of them. Huh. It says superhero. I hate that because it used to just say superhero back in the day, and so they don't
Mm.
actually like break it down. But to me, I would almost classify this as a freaking comedy, and I don't want it to be that. And so
Right.
when the comic book came out, right in what year was that?
60,
uh, 60 something,
64,
61.
61. All right.
It was very um sci-fi adventure superhero action like with the family
Right.
dynamics in it. Like it was like a bunch of that all in one. And then they had fun and stuff like that. There was definitely serious moments with Doom and stuff like that. So but what this movie was, it leans a lot into comedy and lightheartedness and with obviously Johnny Storm telling his jokes and things like that.
Yeah.
And there was a lot less seriousness and more of a celebrity aspect to this movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there
big
was like
time.
the
I feel like
celebrity
the
side of
only
things.
only other plot of it was constantly Ben Grimm being mad about being the thing and
Mhm.
Mr. Fantastic trying to cure him from being the thing. And the weird like Doom playing thing against them
Yeah.
of like, oh, you sure he's just not having fun spending time with his girlfriend? And the fact that Doom and Sue had this previous relationship that was
Yeah.
kind of weird. Like all of that stuff. That none of it was really there, and yet that
No.
was the plot.
And
Like there
what did
wasn't
the
any
movie take place over like what, a couple weeks, if that,
right, if that.
right? And so he
A lot
went.
of crap that happened in a couple of weeks.
Ben Grimm went from, and I do like the line they say, "What's the worst that can happen? We're going to
Yeah.
space for eventually.
Yeah.
We're gonna."
What's the worst that could happen?
And he gets turned into his ugly rock monster, which again we can all relate to
And then what is the
Ben
matter with his
Grimm.
wife? And Liz pointed
Do they
out,
need that? Like to me, I'm like, do
no,
they
they didn't
need
need that.
that?
And then like
He quickly got over it.
her running out in the middle of New York in
In
nothing but her
your
like
underwear,
lingerie.
basically.
She comes running out like, all right, she probably has some mental instability. Like, there's some
Yeah,
problems here.
yeah.
Yeah, and then she's like, she breaks up with him over the fact, like, ends their
He's
marriage over the
yeah.
fact that he's turned into this rock monster. Obviously, this is like a traumatic event. But what if your husband was in a car accident and got burned or something? You're dumping him for that. Like, kind of shows a lot about you, lady.
Yeah, it makes it. She's a shitty person in this movie. Like that woman is like, and the funny thing is, also again, the crappy part about it is they make the blind woman the one that's attracted to him, also, which makes it seem like the looks still do matter, but she just can't see you, so it doesn't really matter at this point. But I felt like the time space was like from like him being whatever annoyed he has to go to space with Mr. Fantastic, and then hating him because he looks the way he looks, to wanting to go against him with Doctor Doom, to at the end of the movie being like, hey, we'll still work on, I'm gonna work every day, every hour to try to figure out how to reverse these things, and him going, I'm okay with it. To me, I was like, oh my God, it was like an up and down thing. And over like a span of a week and a half, he was like, yeah, I'm okay. From being to the point where he like his marriage ended because of it.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was like, okay, they needed to get that story arc in there, but they just it was,
and he needs to save his friends, but he goes from like, oh, I'm finally back to being myself again.
Yeah.
I could, try to move on my life to, screw it, I'll go back to being a rock monster.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, so we know we can cure the rock monster thing, but we don't really, it's like, nah,
yeah,
fine. I got back to being human for 15 minutes. It was a little overrated. I'll go back to being a rock monster. Yeah, all of the things, whole like plot in this was very off.
Which is
and
also
I think one of the problems with the movie. It's one of the things that makes this movie just feel weird. Is all of the things plot.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that was one of the things of this movie that just didn't really work right.
I think, like I said, Mr. Fantastic, if you look back at anything, there's not really any problems other than the fact that I said I think he was more flubbery and more like fumbly than I wanted him to be. I want him to be shy and reserved and focused as a nerd on his work, and that's the reason why he's not not focused on Sue Storm.
He seems like sort of like
he seems like just a nervous guy. He's attracted to and wants to date Sue Storm again so much, which is not.
Failures of his too, like not being able to read that the storm in space was gonna hit that fast, and not being able to understand that the shield wasn't gonna work. Everything just seemed like he wasn't actually that good at it. He couldn't pay his bills. No. Yeah, like everything kind of seemed like Mr. Fantastic, for being Mr. Fantastic, kind of sucks at everything he does. And I feel like that wasn't really accurate or right for the character either. So I feel like that is another like issue with this movie.
What was his rent like? Like the master bill, like no shit, you can't pay your bills. Like what the hell? Right, like a $50,000 a month lease on that skyscraper lot. Like skyscraper
and then like and everything he's doing randomly, like the electricity is probably insanely expensive. He's doing all these bizarre tests.
I think
it would have gone a long way if they written something else into the thing and not cured him.
Yes.
Would have made a lot more sense, because I feel like if you're a human, you get back and you're like, oh my God, I'm out of this horrible nightmare of being this like rock monster.
Yeah,
my friends need me. As a human, I would probably try to figure out a way to stop Doom, not be like, well, I'll turn myself back to rock monster.
Yep,
seems like the only way.
And we see that with the Incredible Hulk too. It's like he doesn't want to go back. There's certain things he tries to do, the whole Professor Hulk and all that stuff. He tries to just like figure a way out in the middle of it, but like. Maybe he thought in his mind that it happened once, I can do it again, so maybe go back to this rock monster and I can get back again. But like, and then he's just okay with it. I don't know. It was a weird.
I got Nikes now, and I'm good. Nike made me my own shoes. I'm terrific now.
Product placement there for sure.
Yeah.
But I also with way that Mr. Fantastic's storyline goes,
the Burger King sign with the inventory. That was well placed. That was funny.
I could have seen them go to House of X. Age, Hickman age, way Professor X, or not Professor X,
Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic goes as the maker, that time and era of Marvel in the sequel, being how bad he was at everything in this movie, like how and how he just gets so pissed off that he becomes this horrible but they don't. And I think that in this movie, his attractiveness to Sue Storm isn't what we want to see. Like comic book wise, it's like she wants him. Plot. She wants him. She wants him. She wants him. He's too entrenched in his work to see it and to focus on it. And instead, he's like willing to not focus on it and go to dinner. I know that was a plot point because they needed to make it so that Ben Grimm would get mad at him again. Right. But like, I do think that wouldn't happen in the comic books. I feel like he'd still be working on this, and Sue Storm would be trying to get him to go to dinner, but not get him to actually do that. That to me, there's a bunch of that stuff. So that's the biggest issues to me. I do think I think
those are the issues with this thing that just don't quite.
And it's because there's enough of them.
Add up. None of it quite feels right.
Yes. And because there's enough of them, it brings the movie way down. I think that's
Yeah.
it's like a
I can
bunch of
agree with
small
that.
things. There's not enough amazing things, and there's not even like one so amazing thing that saves it. It
No.
just it keeps that.
Human
And
Torch was probably the star of the whole thing
yes,
of being and of being a I don't know the most accurate all the way around vibe and feeling of the character was Human Torch. He's
hmm
obnoxious. He's funny. He does whatever the hell he feels like doing. Like all of that just seems right, you know.
yes.
So
Yes, and I think that's the big point. And I think that if this to me, I think also what hurts this is it's the Fantastic Four.
yeah,
So if you write this, obviously, if you write this movie
one
as a
of Marvel's
non-Marvel movie,
biggest.
non-Marvel movie, it probably is not that bad. People probably don't care about it.
Yeah,
But
if this was a random sci-fi movie, it would probably be forgotten into history, and
but
nobody would care that much.
the other side of it is if this was like now they just did the Ironheart show and they've done other shows that are like lesser known characters and so on and so forth.
Right.
Again, probably would have gotten some sort of a pass in the sense of it. But like, let's be honest, like if you look at the history of Marvel, the history of Stan Lee, the
Yeah.
history of some of these characters, Jack Kirby,
Jack
all these people.
Kirby.
But if you hear how many times Stan Lee used to talk about how the Fantastic Four was his like, I'm just gonna, the second time
Yeah.
after with the whole mixed in with the whole Spider-Man thing, like doing his own
Yeah.
thing and creating his own thing, is it deserves better, if that makes any
Yes, it
sense. In the
does.
history of Marvel, it
The history of Marvel,
deserves,
it really goes like Spider-Man,
yeah,
Fantastic Four,
yeah.
and then really probably like your Captain America, Iron
Yep.
Man,
But the
Groot.
Iron Man wasn't even until more recently. Iron
Right.
Man, like, it was like back in the day. It was like
If
you
you
had
look, it
your,
was Marvel One was Iron Man, like way back, and then you had like Tales of Suspense. But Iron Man himself didn't really become a centralized main character until what, like the 70s?
yeah.
Like
So I can't be the
then the
same, but
80s with Demon in the Bottle, which really like gave this
yes.
humanized character. Those were the things that made Iron Man stand out. Until then, he was just
And I
kind of
think Marvel
around. He
has
was
been able
kind
to
of there.
capitalize on Robert Downey Jr. I think that nowadays it's one of the if they ever say, oh, we're gonna do five key series and that's it, Iron Man's gonna be
Iron
one of
Man's on
them.
the list. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
back then I don't
Or
think it was.
or
So they're
probably would
not
have been.
they're not the same, but Superman, right? And Spider-Man, right? They're like the most
Oh,
known
that's
characters in
six.
each of
Those are
their
two.
their
Yeah.
respective universes. But secondary to me, I think it's one of those things that for the longest time it was Batman. And then again, not the same, but the Fantastic Four was like the secondary, like if you had a title
Right.
that would sell equally, Detective Comics and Fantastic Four. I think those two were the ones. And so getting a good Spider-Man movie out there, and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, like the first one wasn't horrendous. It was
Right.
good. I mean, it was for the time.
It kicked off a
Um,
lot of stuff.
yeah.
It got a lot of people watching Spider-Man.
And obviously X-Men's in there too, but X-Men I think is like after Fantastic Four in my opinion.
Right.
But I think that that's a big problem is that they took this such an iconic group and kind of like phoned in most of it. Like
Yeah, and
didn't
it
flesh
didn't
the
hit.
story out. Didn't I don't know. Again, I guess in 2005 or 2003 when they or 2002 when they cast this movie, was it a bad cast? Probably not. I just
No.
looking back on it, it probably looks worse to me.
Right.
But
Well, like if Jessica Alba's I don't know, overall acting and the writing of the character were better, she may have been a better looking cast of this.
mhm,
But I mean, a lot of her writing and plot was sort of pointless.
mhm.
Like,
That's my whole point. The whole thing is
yeah.
so,
So yeah. So I mean, overall, the casting of this movie and everything may have still looked better too if the writing around it had been better.
hmm hmm So let's look back on it. So I'm just doing this as a fun thing for us to do. We're gonna recast her role in 2005. Best actresses of 2005. Okay, it was created by some random person on social media.
Credit to random person.
Okay, number one on their list is Scarlett Johansson. So like she was in Lost in Translation in 2003, and so at that point she would have been a little hotter, but like and she could have potentially done it.
Right.
Um, Rachel Weisz, who was in The Constant Gardener. I don't know who this person
I
is. Who that
recognize
person?
that name.
Keira Knightley. She
Okay.
had just
Yeah.
been in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
she
So
had just been
from
in the Pirates of the
Pirates
Caribbean.
of the Caribbean. Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon.
Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Natalie
I.
Portman.
Oh God. Yeah. Natalie Portman was in everything in the 2000s. Yeah, that makes sense.
Naomi Watts or Rachel Zellweger.
I think Renee Zellweger. I think is one of my that Liz really like can't let me
Charlize Theron.
drives her nuts.
Charlize Theron could have been it. But again, if you wanted to go a little lesser known, right? You could go.
Right.
How about Anna Faris? Um, But there are some people on here that would have been fairly good in, in the time to be someone who's attractive, but not, I think would have been better actors. Like, that's 20 people
Right.
from 2005. Not one of them was Jessica Alba, by the way.
Right. Yeah. Jessica Alba wasn't even on the list. Yeah.
So like to me, it's this. I don't know. I just feel like they 100% didn't care what she acted like.
Right.
It's just she was attractive and her tits were out. Like
And
when
that was
she's
the whole plot. That was her whole character plot. That
and
was
that,
basically
and
the gist
and
of
let's be
it.
honest, we're talking about comics here, Paul.
Mm,
Look at the characters that we see in comics. They're all there to be attractive. But
right.
I think that there's like we have the ability to change that in movies. So yes, they need to be attractive because they need to be able to sell tickets, but they don't need to be sexualized to the point where like
That's
she's
all they are.
invisible. Like
Yeah.
and I understand that part of it. The idea that the powers connect the personality and so on and so
Well, and
forth.
I
I
feel like that was the
understand
thing.
that.
Invisible Woman, like Invisible Girl, Invisible Woman,
Yeah.
like it connects that power. She feels that way.
Mhm.
Jessica Alba never portrayed that.
No.
Like she just seemed like right when she walks in the room with Doom in the beginning, like she wants to command the room, all this and
Yep.
that. She's seeing everything else. It's kind of hard to believe that she would feel invisible. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, just doesn't. I don't know.
I'll tell you right
Hey,
now,
I think
I don't think she wears
I
that
love the story.
underwear matching underwear set in the movie or in the comic book.
Yeah,
She's wearing white tighties and white bra. Like there's no frilly lace thing in the movie or in the comic books.
that was yeah, that's totally there for looks.
But yeah, so that to me is a huge thing, and I think the biggest thing to me, again, I will say, is the fact that it really just I just felt it in the movie. I'm like, cool. Learned about the Fantastic Four getting their powers, but like in a movie, you need to have this like arc, like
Yeah,
this
there wasn't one.
third act that was
The
like there
whole
was a third act, but it was almost like
the
no
whole
one in the
plot
world
was
would have known
origin.
about it
No,
if it
the
wasn't a
entire
movie.
movie was an origin story.
But
Like it
like,
was just very drawn out.
I
Yeah,
need, in my opinion, like what's going to happen in this new Fantastic Four movie is that they're people know about them. They're obviously not doing so a straight ahead origin story. They probably will do the whole and this is how they got their powers 5 minute thing at the very beginning,
right.
hopefully, and then go on from there or some sort of flashbacks. I like the idea of like having
I
their
think that
powers and
was a
then
big
showing back.
mistake of these early movies, were
Yes,
the
you had to
how
do origin story.
long the
Yeah,
origin story was in all of them, and that
but
they may have planned on a sequel being the movie that had a point, and the first one is just an origin story.
yeah,
And I feel like you go back and watch these, and a lot of them were sort of that way. Like just the amount of times I've seen
yeah,
Bruce Wayne's parents die.
yeah,
I get it. The
yeah.
amount of times
And
you
that's what
see
they did with
baby
this
LL
whole.
shot up into space. I get it. Like we
And
could
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
eat this
nowadays.
up,
We know
folks.
who the Fantastic Four is. Okay, so you have an unreleased one that it's been popularized, so people have seen it. There's the 2005. There's the 2015. So this is the second official adaptation. This is the third one coming up. We know that they go to space and do that. The people that are going to go see it, so you can touch on it, do
Yeah.
this whole like, and make it go. Okay, this is how it happened.
Do this like news report thing at the beginning,
Yes,
like flashing through
as they're doing
newspaper
credits
channels or whatever.
or
Yeah.
start the movie and then like 5 to 10 minutes into the movie do a flashback saying, oh yeah, that time that night, and they show the flashback of how it happened.
Right.
But I guarantee you that the world is going to be in peril in this movie, or
Yeah.
at least the city.
Oh,
The city of New
Black is
York is
coming.
going to be in. Yeah. So to me, I'm like, that's what this movie was missing. I think
Yeah.
that Doctor Doom in this movie needed to get to the point where he was so bad, so quickly in this movie that
Yeah,
they had to
because
save the world.
all he does, I mean, he murders some people.
Yes.
Like he murders but then the
Which he
people
probably
murders,
did before he became Doctor Doom. Let's be honest. He was a
yeah.
high tech
Well, yeah,
CGI.
they never touch on any of that. Yeah. And the fact that like he killed some of these guys that were you kind of I don't want to say had it coming, but
Yeah.
like they were enjoying his failings and this and that. So like him killing them was like, whatever. And then after that, he's like immediately going to attack the Fantastic Four. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is no like I am Doom.
Yes.
I'm gonna rule and control the world. I already rule and control an entire country. You know, any of this stuff, going in and seeing the stuff that Doom had done. You're right. It was just like instant, almost like Doom was like street level, which is not
Mhm.
Doom. Like, yeah.
I needed more. I needed more.
I
I
mean,
needed
what's
this
next?
team
Doom's
to.
gonna hold up like 7-Eleven down the street.
Yeah.
I am Doom. I will control this 7-Eleven.
I need my icy, my slushy.
What do you mean the slushy machine's down? Is that McDonald's?
Yes, the
Yeah.
ice,
The ice cream machine's down. Firing lightning bolts out through the restaurant.
But like it's again, take the Fantastic Four out of this movie, like as a title. Make it a
Right.
sci-fi movie about these four people who are friends who get powers, cosmic
Yeah.
powers. Why are you going to see the next one, Paul?
Oh God, I wouldn't be.
Right? So obviously they sold tickets to the
Maybe
second
the ending.
film.
Maybe the ending with because honestly, that was probably the best part of it. The end, and then
Yes.
the flashing, and then seeing the boat going away with Doom locked up, and then
Yeah.
going to Latveria was probably the biggest thing in the movie. That was like, oh, cool, all right.
It was like
We have
before post credits. It was like the other post credit scene.
yeah.
Like before post credit scenes. And so why are you going to see the second movie if this is the first movie, if it's not the Fantastic Four? There isn't any. And I think that needs to be said in a movie. I think that needs to be said when a Marvel movie or a comic book movie gets made. When you finish watching Superman, when you go see it in the theaters, why do I want to go see this movie now, the second movie, the sequel, if
Yeah.
it wasn't Superman? There has to be some sort of story there. You can't
Oh,
just
100%.
rely on the thing.
You can't
And I
live
think
off
they
the
relied
fact
on the
that-
origin story, and they relied on the fact that it's the Fantastic Four, so it did well enough and people liked it well enough that they can make a second movie, right? And have people go see it. So the first movie was made, as we finish up here, the first movie was made for $100 million and made $333 million. Okay. In
Which, by the way,
2005.
that's a pretty decent box office. I saw that they pulled the money in. People were going to go see Marvel movies at this point.
Yep.
Um,
And in the sequel, which came out in 2007, so 2 years later, was made for 130 million. Okay, understandable. A little bit better effects, a little better stuff, a little bit better
Silver
salaries,
Surfer probably
probably.
up quite a bit of it.
Right? Made 302 million. So like it still made the money. People still went to see it. Again, it was because they hooked people in because it was called the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. So you got Silver Surfer in there.
I was there. I
Yeah.
saw both of these in the theater.
And again, that's what the problem is. I think if it wasn't for the words Fantastic Four on it, these movies wouldn't sold. Again, it's easy to say, Justin, that's the whole point. I understand that, but like, I need a good movie that has the
Yeah.
skin of.
I
And
think that's why these don't. It's fun. I think this movie holds up for being fun, but as far as an actual good movie, this movie doesn't hold up at all.
So Ant-Man, right?
Yeah.
Ant-Man movie. It has an origin story. It's an origin story movie. It's one of the last few like straight ahead origin stories in Marvel comic movies now. Take the word Ant-Man out of it and make it just a sci-fi movie about this character in you want to go see the next movie. It's a heist movie with this. It's so to me, I'm like, that's my point. It's the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy in the first one, in my opinion. It's a comedy, and they make you want to go see the next one. You know,
love the relationship with them. I don't love the relationship amongst these four people. I don't care.
I don't think that there's enough people who like each other.
There and they don't do much. Like, yeah,
I feel like the best relationship is actually between Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm because they, like I make fun of you, you make fun of me, kind of thing. Because we're friends. I think that is the proof. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's it. Yeah, they had the best like bromance situation going. Ben in Mr. Fantastic with Reed don't really care that much.
No.
Susan, the romance between the two of them was not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Reed Seuss romance it's just not there.
No.
I don't feel like there's any spark in that at all. Yeah, literally the best relationship in the whole movie are those two. It's the Thing in Human Torch. I don't know. So what do you think? What is this? Is this a C movie? Is this like a 2.5 out of 5?
Yes, I put 2 down. So I put 2 down because I feel like I agree with the majority of the people out there where it's like 50%, but just below 50%. And that's only, again, I think that there's a skew. If you and I watch this as non-comic book people, I don't know how many people would like this movie. Like we probably just a little bit because we're Fantastic Four fan. Like we want the
so here's mine. So I watched this movie with my family. I watched it with Liz and I watched it, and Katie watched it.
Yeah.
Katie is 9. She really liked it.
Yeah.
She had fun.
Entertaining.
And they got done, and Liz goes, "I really like that movie still. It's just fun." And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. So I think 2.5. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I think they nailed the fun part of comics. They just missed anything else. None of the rest of it was there. So I'd go 2.5 stars.
Perfect. As I said, it's right in the middle. I don't think it's like I said. I think that it gets bad.
Not bad.
A bad rap. I think it gets a super bad rap. I think we talked about this with Daredevil too. I think it's a hugely bad rap because of the time, and I think the
Daredevil, my guilty pleasures. God, that movie's so bad too. Oh my God, watching Daredevil, that is so bad. And yet Ben Affleck is Daredevil. I love him as Daredevil.
And maybe next year on the 1-year anniversary of this episode, maybe we'll watch the 2015 one. Because
God, that one. Oh God.
Because it will be so bad. It's so much worse. And I don't know. And they also there's people online saying that they're kind of crapping on Marvel and DC for like going backwards in a
Right.
sense that they showed a picture of this new Superman in his costume compared to like Man of Steel, and they
Right.
showed like the 2015 Fantastic Four in their costumes versus the new Fantastic Four First Steps, in how like they've gone to like the simplistic, more like bubbly, cartoony looking costumes.
Right.
And I said, yeah, but in the same sense, I don't. They're not a crime fighting like the
The
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four are not Batman.
It's a family. They're a family in a sense. So
Yeah.
like it's like this. It's the
Their
first family of Marvel. So it's they're
costumes they
bubbly.
talk about,
They're
and
scientists.
they hit on this movie. Their costumes are solely to make their lives every day easier
Yes.
because of the powers they have. So, like, I get that. Yeah, they're not, this isn't Batman or Daredevil. They're not wearing costumes to intimidate people or have weapons or
Yep.
any of that stuff. Yeah.
And the
So,
2015 one is dark as hell. Like this, if you look at the posters difference between the two
yeah,
of them, like it's like just
they were nice.
dark.
Like I said, I've never seen the movie, but yeah, they were dark. And that's not the Fantastic Four.
No.
Fantastic Four are light. They're
And that's why they're doing this movie. This is a period piece. The Fantastic Four First Steps is literally based in the 60s or 70s or whatever. Like it's
yeah,
based in that time period
in the time frame it started in.
because it makes sense to them. It makes sense to this whole thing and so on and so forth. Yeah, so 2.5 right in there. I think it's a
Yeah.
great rating for it. I think it's not a good movie, but in the same sense, what it set out to do is entertain, and it did that at least. Again, without take the word Fantastic Four off it, I would not be going to see the sequel. But because it said Fantastic Four, I did see the sequel. Same thing. It was a whole thing, like in
Took
Silver
Fantastic
Surfer.
Four off this. I don't
And
know.
obviously, you have a connection because you're a big Galactus fan, so you're obviously Silver Surfer Galactus to go hand in hand in that sense, and so does the Fantastic Four.
I love the Surfer. Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that we see that in this next thing, this next iteration of the Fantastic Four, seeing this group in the dynamics and seeing what happens and
Yeah.
seeing,
I'll be excited to watch it. We should try to like see if we can make a big gathering and go see the
movie. I mean, it's going to be cool. I think I'm excited for it, and so on and so forth. As we finish up here, did you see that there's a possibility after Secret Wars that the Marvel Universe will be quote unquote rebooted? In that they're going to use that as a launching point.
Yeah, reading about that, yeah, they may potentially recast Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just reading about that.
I said it makes sense to me. I think now you're what 20 something years into this almost 20 years, right? 2008. It's 2008. Yeah, 2008 because Iron Man. It's almost 20 years. It will be 20 years ish right when this one comes out. That you have a whole new generation of people who are fans of this. You need to start. So like the idea is that I guess the X-Men will start whatever universe. All the stuff falls into place. The Secret Wars, some of that. The X-Men's universe will be the universe that they launch off of this from. So then whoever the X-Men are, and then from that point on, a new Iron Man, a new whatever. And so,
like, I mean, it's gonna be hard for us that were in our 20s during the start of all this and like sucked into this whole thing. And it's like, I feel like the MCU has like been a huge part of my adult life, really.
Yep.
We're gonna have our time being like, that's not Chris Evans, that's not Robert Downey Jr.
Correct. So what I will say is, I think they'll change
for the
it.
next generation to see that stuff. Like
you'll see an Iron Man, you'll see a Thor, you'll see an Ant-Man, you'll see a Hulk, you see all that stuff. Yeah. But I do think that there's now with a new one, they'll maybe throw in a different character here and there. Maybe Ironheart comes earlier, maybe Miss Marvel comes earlier, maybe Captain Marvel comes earlier, and so you maybe see these things in the order of when they're introduced, who they are, how big of a character they are in this. Maybe the Avengers is completely different, but the other characters still exist. So like say, Thor still exists, but he's not part of the Avengers, but Captain Marvel is in the beginning. Like this, I could see that happening. And I do think that it could be fun. However, what I'll say to everyone, I've always said, is that when a movie gets adapted from the comics, so we just talked about Fantastic Four from 2005, nothing takes away the 1961 release of the comic book. That still exists. You can still go read it. You can still enjoy it. So whatever happens in the MCU from moving forward after Secret Wars, we still could go into the Disney Plus or pull our DVD out, pop in Iron Man, and rewatch it. And they never can take that away.
I tried to step back in this one a little bit and just accept Doctor Doom as the like ultimate Doctor Doom. It's a different origin. It's a different background. And I just tried to live with him this time. And I feel like I enjoyed it a little bit more because of that versus my original scrutiny of that's not Doom.
Yeah. So I think we're going to hopefully see a difference in this, and maybe they will do Ultimate MCU and regular MCU. Maybe this next one will be Ultimate MCU, and maybe they'll call it that, the Ultimate MCU universe, because it's different side of things.
Well, it's like we've seen Peter Parker a lot. We could have Miles Morales Spider-Man. Just be the
Yeah.
Spider-Man of the universe.
And then the Peter Parker is the one that's in another universe that you touch on every once in a while that goes in there as a character here and there that
Right.
maybe we see Ghost Spider or Spider Gwen
Yep.
more in this universe. Maybe some of the Spider Verse people over there. So I think there's a future, and I think that that's a great. And I think that I kind of like that idea because I think at some point they're going to lose people. I think that they're just going to. And here's the deal:
I mean,
going to an alternate universe doesn't stop them from saying, "Oh, this didn't work," and going back. Like it's not.
I'm a huge Marvel Universe fan, and there's tons of stuff that's been coming out I haven't watched because I'm just sort of like, whatever.
And that's what they also said. Kevin Feige,
to
I don't know, to piggyback on that, Kevin Feige said they want to get back to get to the idea that this relaunch would be one TV show, maybe two TV shows a year, and then one movie a year.
Yeah,
go back to that.
There's been so much
Yeah.
as of late that it's like great. It's awesome to have it all out there. I personally don't have enough time, nor do I know if I have enough interest. I've sort of been lost a little bit to it.
And for me, as a person
things
who
like Love and Thunder really
Yeah.
killed me.
Well, I mean, you want to go watch Superman. We're recording this on Monday for Fantastic Four. The movie comes out on Friday.
Right.
And so, like, you're talking 2 weeks ago, Superman came out. Then this came out. And then as someone like myself who's a Star Wars fan, there's Star Wars things coming out. And then there's other comic book adaptations. And there's regular things. So there's so much coming out that I understand that if you did a MCU movie a year in May, and then like in August or September, you put out a TV show that still works all together. And then next May, you put out another Marvel movie and so on and so forth.
I feel like that'd be a nice like release schedule.
And if you wanted to in the future, if you have 10-pole movies, so you have an individual movie that comes out in May, and then like Christmas time, you have the 10-pole movie. So you have your Avengers movie or something like that. So you have two come out a year. But like I like the idea of it slowing down a little bit. And, and you have a cast or a bullpen of high skilled directors and writers that want to do these things. And if you have less movies to make, you can use them where they're supposed to use, and you focus on the writing.
So much deadline, so much time being crunched, all this stuff, so you can have a better product at the end of it.
Yes, so I think that's a good thing. So we'll see how it goes, and I think that this Fantastic Four will probably be, I mean, easily the best Fantastic Four movie because they've got to learn from their lessons.
I don't know what else to do. If this new one isn't the best Fantastic Four movie we've had,
they've got to.
I don't know
what
to do. Paul. Just stop.
They've got to have learned.
Don't do it.
Well, I mean, what was this? We haven't seen it yet, but as what I've heard, the Superman's the best Superman movie.
Everyone's loving the Superman.
So like. Who knows? Maybe people are starting to learn from their lessons. And I did say in your shop, DC did the smartest thing they've done for their movies in years. Forget if you like James Gunn or not. Get someone who has been successful in your competitor's field and bring them over to your side and have them do exactly the same thing, but on our side. And guess what? It worked, Paul. It worked.
I don't know if Dean Cain's not Superman. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You the Dean Cain Superman. Jesus. Well, that means we can't have another Ghost Rider because I want Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. Come on.
Oh, God.
No? Well, we're going to watch that. We're going to watch Ghost Rider, man.
Okay, I started that because you talked about it. I started that. You talk about bad movies. That movie sucks.
Yeah, it's great. It sucks because the Ghost Rider Flaming Skull, when Ghost Rider goes to steal the Declaration of Independence, Paul.
I would rather watch that movie.
We have a soft spot in this family, but National Treasure. But yeah. So I mean, again, I still want Nicolas Cage's Superman with spiders and stuff. Like
I want to have the guys attack Alcatraz, and then all of a sudden he bursts into flames.
Yeah, there you go.
That would
be rides his motorcycle so fast it's across the bay in San Francisco.
It would be it'd be more interesting than the freaking movie we got of that.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. There's no reason why the future iterations of Johnny Blade, of Ghost Rider can be different people. They've been different people. Why do we have to introduce we don't have to even touch that. That existed. Let's start with a new one, and then you know why not? But we'll see. But Fantastic Four 2005, 2.25 because it's between the two of us. I think right in the middle. I think it's great.
Balance, I guess, right?
It's entertaining, worth the watch, in my opinion. It's not amazing, honestly. If you have a chance, watch the 1994 one too, because that is like a fun watch.
You know what? For the 1994 one, boy, did they tried. The actors tried. Let's go with that. The writers did not try. A lot of the stuff there was totally phoned in, so they could just get a movie made and get it out of the way. But I feel like the actors believed in the 1994 movie.
100%. So like this movie was made for 100 times more money, Paul. And it was not 100 times better. So there's that. Money doesn't always buy happiness, Paul.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were like, we want to make this movie. And then sometimes you're just like, I'm paid to be here. And that's what kind of what we got out of this thing.
Well, like Clerks was made for a hell of a lot less money and is a much better movie.
Yes, exactly. But Galactic Comics and Collectibles, 547 Heyman Street in Bangor, Maine. Welcome back, Paul.
I'm going to say this right now. We're going to announce this, and God, I hope I don't watch this 2 years later and be like, that didn't happen. New Galactic Comics and Collectibles.com coming very soon.
We'll see. Thanks, Paul.
Just like the sequel for Fantastic Four, it's got to be better.
It's got to be better. We will talk soon. I will be in the shop sometime this week to pick up my comics. But yeah, again, another one that wasn't hurtful to watch. Like, it wasn't painful. No? We'll get there, though. We'll watch a painful one. Don't worry. We're coming up here with some.
Yeah, I believe it.
Thanks, Paul.